first three races are all short technical tracks, but today marks a very different challenge. The street circuit on Belle Isle is considered one of the most punishing tracks in North America. With the back-to-back podiums to his name in the first couple rounds, Ove obviously has some leeway currently, but seeing the other side of this one will no doubt be a relief. Let's see who comes away a winner in the Motor City as we get ready to watch round 3 of the Lotus 49 Grand Prix Legend Series. And you'll see it all live here on the Global Sim Racing channel. Hi, I'm Joe Peak, and with me in the booth is multi-time Grand Prix Legends champion Mick Claridge. Behind the scenes is our director Robert O'Brien, and he's using cameras provided by Dougie Beard. It may be more effective to simply show you some of what we're talking about with the ruthlessness of this circuit, so let's head to our track guide. Welcome to the Belle Isle Street Circuit. Situated in a beautiful park on Belle Isle itself, it rests in the Detroit River, sandwiched between the Motor City and Canada. With it being in the far north of the Midwestern United States, as you'd expect, harsh winters make this a bone-jarringly bumpy track. It's most known for IndyCar's yearly visit, but has also seen IMSA hold rounds here lately. The 14 narrow corners only add up to a mere 2.3 miles in length, but it can tend to feel like a lot more just from the sheer stress of keeping your car out of the walls. Runoff is non-existent in the majority of corners, so mistakes tend to be punished with race-ending damage. The dangers include the tight and twisty fountain section with its rapid-fire set of bends, and the frightening turns 12 and 13, which end the lap with 2 swift kinks. However, the most notorious spot on the track is the exit of Turn 2, made famous by collecting the Corvette pace car into its hungry walls one year. The first 2 turns are a quick chicane, so the extreme change of direction, plus the rise in the track as it crosses over a creek, means grip and balance can disappear in an instant. While the setup of the car can sometimes help lessen the annoyance of the bumps a little, what this place all comes down to is driver skill and daring. Precision will pay off with the close proximity of the barriers. While it isn't a stroll in the park for drivers, fans get to enjoy the beauty of the scenery all while watching some of the most thrilling racing an American street course has to offer. Well, Mick, this place gets hyped up a little bit, but honestly, I think it deserves it. It is probably one of the toughest tracks here on iRacing, and combine it with the 49, man, these guys have a task in front of them.
Yeah, I was trying to think of the best way to describe this place, and everyone's waiting for rain to come to iRacing. This is probably the closest you're going to get before we get it. Lotus 49 at Detroit. The bumps here, Joe, are just relentless. There's non-stop all the way around the track. There's not one section of smooth track here. No doubt the walls are going to play today. It's just a street course. It's just insanely tough to get the power down out of these slow corners. And it is so easy to make a mistake. Guys have been saying about it all week. Everyone's done it. Everyone's hit every wall here. Everyone's hit every bump here. It's going to be a tough day for the guys today.
Yeah, no doubt about that. And as you can see on the track map, it's pretty twisty with few opportunities to overtake as well. As for moving on to the pre-race show, our F1 drivers standings, naturally has Ove Trangrade with his 2 podiums leading the way. It's not a huge margin, but considering that's after 2 rounds, he's doing pretty well over Tixier. Nicola currently sitting in 3rd. Laust Olsen is tied right now with Gary Quellen, and Frasky and Zoko are very tight behind him, giving chase to try and snatch that 4th position up. Today could be decisive in that fight, no doubt. Still very early in the season. We'll probably see things remain this close to each other for some time. As for the F2 drivers' standings here, Mick, let's see where our F2 guys are, because that usually stays close all the way to the finish.
Yeah, Yuri Wickstrom's leading F2 at the moment. He's here today. So not really sure on his place today against the other guys. It's pretty hard to tell. Tobias Harvey in 2nd place there. Rolly Warbank's in 3rd. That's a good result for him so far. Nice and early on in the season. Let's see if he can carry on that trend. Andrew Eng in 4th there. Series veteran. He's been here since day one. And the Brit David Rossi in 5th place. Matt Linden, Michael Grissinger, Manuel Pereira, Robert Brauter, and Dave Cohen in top 10. Looking forward to seeing this F2 championship carrying on, Joe.
Yeah, so that is going to be for the drivers who are 2,500 100 and below in I rating. Here we have the Cup of Nations, and Ove Trangrade, hailing from Norway, is of course helping them lead the way. With Tixier in Singapore, he is only 15 points behind Finland, just 16 points back. They have started to invade more and more. For a long time, it was a bit surprising that we didn't see more of Finland in this series, but I think they're discovering the joys of the Lotus 49. Australia and United States only 5 points apart there for fourth place, and got a couple ties farther down the field. All right, well, what are these drivers up against here, Mick? Run us through the race details for today.
Yeah, we're looking around for round 3 of 12. 23 laps today. It seems longer than it is. It's, like I say, it's such a tough race, Joe. 23 laps of pure attrition. Open setups. There's been a few setups shared. Notably, Rolly Wallbank has put a setup, and everyone's been raving about that this week. So, well done, Rolly. No spare cars. Pretty tough out there. Drive through 17X. No one's going to get 17X today to a disqualification at 25. I very much doubt everyone will do that.
Yeah, I got to think there's so few spaces where there's even grass to run over out here. So highly unlikely that anybody has to worry about that as much as the walls. Now, Teemu Vaskalampi is back once again and has put it on the provisional pole after the first lap, about a tenth ahead of Trangrade's first go at it. So what can he do on the follow-up? Vaskalampi, I'm seeing, might be a little slower on this lap, though, if my timing and scoring is showing correctly. Let's see what kind of exit he gets out onto the strand. This is along the river between Canada and Detroit. And you can see not really the straightest of backstretch before they get to the breaking of the fountain section, Mick.
No, it's not. Just looking at the drivers list, Joe, there's a lot of guys here who I expect to be right up the front with similar lap times, and it looks like it's, I don't know, maybe the weather is playing a party. I'm just looking at the weather now. We're 83 Fahrenheit. We haven't seen that all week, and the lap times are slow. I was expecting even 29 flats from the guys like Teemu and Seb and Togo, but the cars are looking slow today. So might be causing some guys a lot of trouble here.
And we saw on screen Ove Trangrade is coming back out of the pit, so he messed up his second lap. Vaskalampi went quicker.
That's more like it. More like it.
29-1 for him. Tixier is still out there. He could maybe take this away.
Oh, Mikko
absolutely slides it through the corner. 29-2. And you're right, Mikko Laino is now our pole sitter at a 128.927. Benzoko gets onto the second row as well.
Yeah, that is an awesome lap. I was going to say, well, I wasn't going to say because of the weather that we might see a 28. A 28 is really going some round here. Unbelievable lap from Mikko there.
How about David Rossi, by the way? Up to 9th place in the F2 championship there. So he is going to have a nice little start over plenty of his rivals. Xavier Sanchez, way far down, seems to have messed up his second lap. He is only qualified 15th. And there you can see him on screen right now on his second go. And he's going to park it. So he's done with that one. And that is it for him. Salgado has already taken his 2 laps, so he's also coming to a halt there. Looks like Frasky can finish his second one, which he does now, but that lap gets deleted. Matt Wright might be able to get a second one in. Yeah, he's got plenty of time here, and he's on the final few corners. So the 19 car, who has handily given us all kinds of fantastic stats. So again, a big thank you there, Matt, for helping organize all that information, is going to go quicker by about 0.3. That'll be 17th place. Track position here, Mick, going to be so important.
Yeah, and I'm just blown away by that 28.9, Joe. Mikko's lap's unbelievable. And track, like you say, track position. It's worth noting again, same as last week, pole is on the left-hand side of the track. So Mikko really needs to nail the start. Otherwise, Teemu's going to be all over him into turn 1. Turn 1, as we know, is right-hander, so gives the advantage to the guy on the right-hand side as long as he can get up next to the guy who's leading. So, yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how turn 1 goes.
with our qualifying pretty much done, here is your starting order. Mikko Leino will be on the pole with Timo Väskälänpää starting next to him. Sebastian Tixier, who came so close to that first win in the opening round at Mosport, is going to start from third. This is a track that could offer him an opportunity if he can stay out of trouble. Ben Zocco, in what might be his last appearance for a little bit, is going to start from fourth, and John Olsen will be P5. We've got Ove Trangrade outside of row 3 and 6. Gary Quellen in the 7th position. Timo Lajoie is going to be starting from P8. Then you've got David Rossi in 9th and Yao Zi Lin starting in 10th.
11th spot is Gary Ho, and Laust Olsen shows up in 12th. I didn't even see him in there. Neil Kemp is in 13th, and Thomas Codron, veteran of the series. Thomas, official champion a long time ago. I don't know if you remember that guy, Joe. 14th. Xavier Sanchez in 15th, Richard Watson 16th, Matt Wright in 17th, Mira Zarowski in 18th, Marco Antonio Lopez Salgado in 19th, and Yuri Wickstrom in 20th.
Terry Chalmers-Hauser starts in 21st, Javier Mosquera in P22 after that. So Harrison will start from 23rd. We hear from Mick, he's pretty fast. We'll keep an eye on him. Glenn Becker, P24, will be followed by Robert Plumley in the 25th spot. You've got Paul Wilson to his outside. Rolly Wallbank will be 27. Manuel Matisic in the 28th, followed by Dave Cohen and Michael Grissinger in the next row. Mick.
Yeah, Cam Porter in 31st, Robert Glenn 32nd, Robert Broughter in 33rd, and Brad Crouthart in 34th, 35th Andrew Eng, Timothy Porter in 36th, 37th Jason Steinhurst, Yuri Geisen messed up qualifying there, terrible for him, 38th, and Robert Reynolds, back row Bob, 39th.
So we just about have everybody gridded up, and obviously, if you've been following the channel, you may have seen a bit of Mick. Make sure and go and check out Where is Mick? We had a new episode uploaded yesterday. So check out to see the adventures of Mick as he rides around the world on his bike, and see where the latest one takes him. But in the meantime, he's with me here in the booth this afternoon as we watch the Grand Prix legends take on round 3 at the difficult circuit of Detroit. Who is going to be able to come away a winner? Who will even get to see the checkered flag at this one, as it looks like we've got the last of them out there. So the engines now start to rev as the lights come up. The Motor City is ready for them. Are they ready for it as the green flag is out? Oh, and it's a horrible start for Lino. Something happened there as he just went nowhere after the initial get off the line. That's going to allow Väskälänpää up to the front as they come off of turn 2. This is the dangerous part coming through here off that bridge. Anybody going to lose it? It looks like we are okay. And they're coming down Central Avenue to turn 3, Mick.
Yeah, it looked like Mikko just went straight into neutral from first gear. I did it myself a lot of times in practicing starts. There's been a crash at the back somewhere, Joe. I'm not sure who it is.
Somebody on their lid. I think that is Richard Watson, unfortunately. A few cars. And now we got another one coming into turn 4. And it looks like maybe Glenn Becker involved in that and a couple others. So they didn't get away scot-free on that one. Ooh, yeah, there's a couple. I thought that we would have giant pileups, but they all wound up being 2 or 3 cars kind of coming together and everybody else avoiding them, Mick.
Yeah, it looks like a bit of a messy start from the guys, but what can you do, Joe? I mean, these walls are relentless and there's no runoff whatsoever. Just one of those things. Sad for the guys. The guys are putting a lot of practice this week for this race. I'm just watching John Olsen. I've just got to keep an eye on this guy through the race. He's put in 10 hours, 11 hours plus this week practice. He's right on pace with the leaders. It's going to be really interesting to see how he does now. He's in 5th position and he's holding on to these guys, and I expect him to for the whole race.
Yeah, right now he's being hounded by our points leader, Ove Trangrade, who's still in 6th, hasn't changed position since the start. Tixier's up to 2nd, so he's gained 1. Lino managed to keep it only to 3rd, so he survived there. Looks like Neil Kemp coming into pit lane. Wonder if he clouded the wall somewhere and managed to drive it back in. Meanwhile, here we go, driving it into turn 3. A little bit of a peak there, Mick, but Ove was not able to get the pass on Olsen done.
Yeah. Like I say, Olsen's on fire this week. He's been really quick. I actually expected him to be further up the grid than he was. So I think Ue's going to have a bit of a problem getting around him today. Here we go onto the back straight. Now just watch how these cars just move around on these bumps. It's just relentless. Everyone else, in any other car, you'd just be flat out and just think about what you're going to do next. Not in the 49. You are concentrating like anything to get the car down this back straight. It's so tough.
No chance for Trangrade that time into the fountain section. Yeah, you were speaking of passing. We were talking about that before we came live, just how hard it is to try and overtake, and that maybe it'll be later down the race once they start to catch up to the tail end of the field.
Yeah, with this many guys on the track, I'd see the guys catching up with the back markers pretty soon. I mean, especially now there's been a wreck. I'm not sure how many guys are out and have pitted, but if there's guys struggling around with a bit of damage as well, so a lot of guys will carry on if they've just brushed the wall with a little tiny bit of steering damage, but it will really kill their lap times, and that's when the guys are going to get caught.
I'm seeing about 25 or so of them that are still running. Yeah, there's a huge chunk that have taken to the pit lane, but they might try and bring the cars back out if they feel like there's enough. And someone looking to the inside, that looks like Zoko actually, and then decides against it as he made an attempt on Lino for third and had to back out of it. Continuing to follow Trangrade here on our screens right now in the 6th position. They've definitely not spread out up here at the front. And in the meantime, looking a little bit farther back, Sanchez is up 3. Now, this is interesting. The 2 car up to 12th already.
Yeah, as I go down the back straight and just watching now, he's trying to catch up with Laust Olsen, who's trying to catch David Rossi. Laust is a little bit out of position now, I'd say, behind David Rossi. But again, David is another guy who's really come along this week. I was watching him this morning, pretty quick in practice. So yeah, a lot of the guys have sorted it out this week for some weird reason, Joe. I don't know what it is. A lot of guys are very quick this week.
Certainly looks like it. Man, this is an absolute train that is forming. Sanchez is chasing Olsen. Laust Olsen, I should clarify. David Rossi up to 10th. Well, down to 10th. He's lost a spot from where he qualified. Still a top 10 will be handy for him if he can hold on to this, but he'll have to keep Laust Olsen and Xavi Sanchez behind him for now. There we see his onboard as he usually sends us that feed. Fastest lap of the race up at the top of your screen has now gone to Sebastian Tixier. So he is on it. And this is a good run from Xavier Sanchez here in the number 2. Mick, I thought maybe he was going to try something. Instead, is this a defense or attack that we're seeing from Laust Olsen? Could have been either, but he does not change positions.
Yeah, good battling there. I was just watching, I have to apologise, I was watching Uwe Trangrade there. He was alongside John Olsen. So we're going to have to keep an eye on that as the race develops. He had a really good run out of turn 1 and 2. It was alongside into turn 3. John's now pulled away a bit, but it's hurt them both trying to keep up with Ben Zoko. Ben's on form today as well. He hasn't done much practice this week. He was quick last night in the race, enjoyed himself, had a good fight with John Olsen. So yeah, great battles going on.
Still watching Timu here. And now he does have a little bit of traffic in front of him. Michael Grissinger, who has been in pit lane and taken some repairs. So don't know if the car is struggling with any sort of handling problems, but is obviously about to be lapped, as they probably are going to catch him within the next 2 laps here, I got to think. Let's see how much they gain coming through the first few corners as we watch from onboard Tixier, who looks very strong into turns 1 and 2.
Yeah, nice run out of the turn from Timu though. Now Michael Grissinger gets well out of the way for both of these guys. Seb's taking in. Oh, Seb. He's going to stove in. Timu sees it last second. I don't think Seb actually tried to pass there, Joe. I think that was a complete miss of his brake marker.
That was from a long ways back. I don't know. If I know Seb, that was...
Yeah, Seb's getting feisty. Oh, Seb.
I think it was a legitimate attempt. It's just he was very ambitious and thankfully didn't run into the side of him. However, if they battle, Mikko Lino is right behind him. We can't see it here from the onboard. There it is right there, right directly there, ready to pick up the pieces if those two start squabbling.
Just one thing to note, Timu sadly is nursing a shoulder injury today and a problem that he has with his hands as well. Not unlike myself at the moment, sort of nursing all these injuries and driving. But yeah, I'm not sure he'll be enjoying this pressure from Seb, especially with his. It's a problem with his shoulder, so I know he gets real heavy pain with this. So the fact that he's actually leading is pretty impressive, to be honest with you. I'm not sure how hard he's going to be able to push with fighting Seb here.
Yeah, I got to think it's a strain. Yeah, sim racing may not be as physical as the real thing, but it still can wear out your parts and your joints. And man, they are wheeling this car. So I'm not sure. It almost looked like maybe clouded the wall just a little bit there from that angle that we saw it, but looks like he's okay as he'll retain the lead. Meanwhile, Ove Trangarade with another attempt on John Olsen and another one where he is rebuffed. Olsen will stay in the top 5.
Yeah, another nice move for Uwe there. He's trying it on into turn 3, isn't he? He likes that exit. Yeah, that there's a huge bump coming out of turn 2. I don't know if you saw that, Joe, but that's where the cars go light, and you can't keep your foot down there. And like I was saying, there's nowhere you can relax. Even down that straight into turn 3, you have to think about what you're doing because the car gets light. The car even gets airborne in one section if you stay to the right too much. And if you're not really looking, or you're looking in your mirror, the car can loop it. It can actually spin around. It'll be in 4th gear when it does, and it will be such a weird thing that happens if it does. But don't be shocked if it does.
So as he stays right on the rear of John Olsen, heading down into the final few corners. This is leading on to Sunset Drive now. And this is where it can be very tricky. Swift final turn as well. Most cars easily flat out. These things, not so much. You can see them having to go around the lap traffic, and that actually cost time for Ove.
Yeah, it did. He really understeered, didn't he, round? I think that was back row Bob getting well out of the way there. Over that little bump they go now, and then down this front the straight into turn 3 now. Yeah, Uwe's lost a bit of ground to John there.
So as they head into this little section here, Cam Porter's gained so many positions. Watching him on screen, he is up, looks like 13 right now. Richard Watson just behind him, giving us his onboard perspective as they come around and through turn 2 and onto Central Avenue once again. So many of these, I'm sure, having at least something to do with the attrition rate, but maybe he's made a few passes. And yeah, that was pretty close down to the apex there.
Yeah, I was just watching Richard from turn 2 there. Really fast hands as he went over that bump there. I'm sitting on board with him as he's trying to wheel him in now. And yeah, he's really got a handle on this track. I tell you, that's what this place takes, Joe. You need to have some seriously quick hands to keep this under control on the limit like this.
A little bit of damage there on the nose of Richard Watson. He's down 3 positions from where he started.
Got it.
And he does indeed. As long as he keeps it out of the wall, he's very hot into the turn. Yes, he manages to keep it safe. So 20 car up to 18th now with that move. Ooh, Trangarade just set the fastest lap of the race, and he's still behind John Olsen. And well, that might not be much longer. Look at this. He is right there once again. He had the slipstream down Central Avenue. No, he's not close enough.
Yeah, John's pretty tasty on the brakes into that corner, isn't he? And they're catching Benjamin now as well. So not sure what's happening to Ben. Uwe's on fire, mate. He's, again, no practice whatsoever. He joined the race session about 10 minutes after it went up. And so he's done about 20 minutes practice. He actually said to me during the week now that this is his plan for this season. He seems to do better when he doesn't sit there and do hours and hours of practice. But saying that, I don't think I've ever known him to do hours and hours of practice. So how would you know? How would you know if he would be better or not?
Yeah, considering the number of wins that he has in the series and even a championship, it's amazing how much he's achieved. Got to wonder what could happen if he did set himself really to it. But he's here for the love of it. We've seen that many a time out on the track, that really doesn't care about the big picture as he nearly slides into 11 and 12 there, but kept it out of the wall.
Yeah, that was pretty dodgy, but bag of understeer. Just, you can't really brake hard when that happens because you'll lock the fronts anyway because they're already sliding. So you just got to really feather the brake and just hope for the best. But again, fast hands from over there, just sorted it out. Lost a massive amount of time with John now.
Yeah, here it comes. This is where the slide happens right here. Ooh, very early correction. So that's what sent him out. Man, there is no room for error on that corner. So he's lucky with a correction that early in the corner that he had enough space to the outside.
Yeah, and as you can see, when it just went to real speed there, just before we ducked away, you could just see how fast the hands are and twitching around, just keeping the car under control. Great to see. One guy I did notice earlier on in the week was Thomas Codron. Oh, we had a car stop there on the track, Joe.
I think that was Timo. Yeah, Timo in the 22. Let's see if we get a replay and figure out what happened here.
Sorry, guys.
That's turn 4. So he must have already had some sort of contact with the wall because he just comes to a halt there. And
he had to duck out of that one, didn't he?
Yeah, someone was slowing the braking of 3. Wonder if that was lap traffic trying to let him by. And looks like Yamji Lin, unfortunately. So yeah, I think he was trying to let him through. I'm double checking to see where he is. No, he was ahead of him. Lin's up in 8th. That's a very strange one. Not sure what's going on there. All right, well, we'll come back to that at some point to try and dissect it and figure out why he wrecked. But the battle for first, second, and third has not really separated from one another since the start of this race. That is Vascalampi, Tixier, and Lino up at the top of the field. Still, and Tixier runs it deep down into turn 5. Did he touch the wall? He's slow and he's lost second place.
Yeah, he did touch the wall, and he had a weird correction as well and hit it again. Maybe he was trying to get out of the way of Miko, thought he was going to spin, but yeah, he's lost a chunk of time there. Yeah, as you say, Joe, just went into... Oh, Miko spun it. He's hit the wall. He's off. He's out.
Just as I was saying that the top 3 have been together this whole race, it suddenly dwindles to 2 in a heartbeat. Miko, you can see, this is his incident. I'm assuming this is down into the fountain section. That's the next likely place to have that big of a problem that could take you out into the braking zone. Is he hot? He's hot. He's way too hot. And unfortunately will cool off in the fountain now as the car is toast with a hit like that.
Well, you say that, Joe. As hard as he hit that wall, he's actually carrying on. And I'm just looking on board now, and the telltale sign in this car is always the same, is whether the steering's bent or not. The steering's straight as anything. So I think he actually got away with it.
Wow.
Obviously lost a chunk of time, and he's down in 5th spot now. But yeah, he's carrying on. The car looks as straight as anything. We'll have to watch his lap times.
That is impressive. I thought that he would have botched the suspension with a hit like that. Incredibly, what this does, Tixier looks like he also got away with his touch too, because that promotes him back up to second, but he has about 2.5 seconds to catch Teemu Vascalampi. So the man that this helps the most is that 5 car. The Finn basically no longer has the pressure he did from early in the race.
Yeah, this takes all the pressure off his problems, what he's fighting with his shoulders. Everything's just nice and calm now. He would just, I know Teemu well now, he would just drive with no pressure whatsoever. He won't have to push too hard. He'll just be looking at the gap. It might come down a tad. I mean, Seb's the one with all the pressure on it now. This is when, if you are Seb, this is where you have to drive out your skin just to try and put pressure back on Teemu yourself, you know. It's a big gap, isn't it, Joe?
It is, and we saw on screen both Ove and Miko sent it way too deep down into turn 7. Thankfully, neither of them hit the wall, but both carrying quite a slide into the fountain section of the track. Now ticking off to lap 12, and Miko is in 5th. Ove is in 6th. That is Gary Quillen behind them currently. Exactly where he began this race, but probably watching those little slides from them and licking his chops.
Yeah, Gary's on pace as well. I keep saying about people that are on pace. Gary's pretty quick this week. Wasn't quite as quick as the top guys, and it showed in his qualifying today. But let's see what's going on, because Uwe's catching up with Mikko. Maybe Mikko has got damage. Maybe there's just a freaky thing. I mean, he hit the wall so hard. I'd be shocked if he didn't. And maybe Gary can get involved in this. Uwe's definitely getting involved in it. I reckon he'll be right on him at the end of the lap if he carries on like this.
Yeah, I remember he was challenging on John Olsen before, but now it is Mikko that he's with. But, man, they really fell off of John Olsen. That's about 3.5 seconds for some reason. And I'm not sure if it was just him getting to the back of the 3 car that cost him all this time, or if he made some sort of big error outside of the slides that we did see from him that has put him on the back foot right now. And, well, they are losing Gary Quellen in the meantime, so it seems to have dwindled back down to this 2-car fight here to finish yet another lap. Not much change in front of them. The drivers still the same gap apart from one another. So let's check in with Xabi Sanchez once again. Heike 360 still sitting in ninth. Not quite as good as we saw for a few seasons. This was a guy that was fighting for podiums in the Grand Prix Legends, and now is just struggling to stay in the top 10.
I think it's just a lack of practice, Joe. As you know, I'm very active in this series, and I'm sort of normally driving every week through the week of a lot of practice sessions just to catch up on the guys and see my mates. Haven't seen them at all. As they go past the back marker there, is that a back marker? Yeah, it's Andrew Eng. Nice safely pass there for the two of them. And yeah, maybe that's what it is. Maybe he's doing his other stuff with his streaming, what he does. Just watching him come onto the back straight now, Youngsie Lim was all over the place coming onto the power there when just getting onto the back straight. How's your braking into the right-hander now? Sanchez is a lot earlier on the brakes, but catches up in the middle of the corner there. So, yeah, nice little battle going on.
Okay, Mick, maybe you have some more inside information. And, of course, we stepped away. I was trying to figure out what was going on with his race suit, because it looks like it's like a Chewbacca costume or something. I can't figure out what he has going on. All kinds of weird browns in that thing. So, Heike 360, if you're listening in, tell us what's going on with the race suit that you've put on your driver here. As they go around more of that lap traffic. Jason Steinhurst doing a great job finding a place for them to go by. But Len, could he lose that 8th place? He's the highest I-rated driver out on track right now, but it looks like he is going to be able to stretch away through turns 1 and 2. Yeah,
nicely through 1 and 2, wasn't he? Sanchez was a bit tight going into 1 there. It does cost you quite a lot of time when you do that. It's tough getting around these back markers, ain't it, Joe? I'm watching the cars in front. You know, you're right on the guy's gearbox. Another one now moves out the way for these guys. Nicely through for the pair of them. Hurts Sanchez a little bit with his line. And onto the back straight again. It's, again, Joe, this is so tough. Getting on the power now at the right-hander and just trying to keep the power down and thinking about what you're doing for the entry to the right-hander into the fountain section. Really tough to do, but he's got nice top speed down there, down into the right-hander for Sanchez. He was catching him really quite a lot. I wouldn't expect that. There's no toe in these cars, not at this place. Yeah, it didn't really seem... Maybe he's got a different gear set. A lot of the guys are running 4 gears today rather than the 5. Just something that they've done. So, yeah.
Interesting. I don't know if I could handle down to the 4. I'd probably try and stick to the 5 myself. But, man, Lynn is doing a very good job playing defense. So you don't get the highest I rating in a field like this without being a pretty good driver. 6,300 I rating for Lynn. Currently entering into this race, and Sanchez still on top of him. Last time he lost ground through 1 and 2, and it does again. Looks like the 1 car a little bit better grunt off the corners, but I'm with you. That was shocking that the 2 car caught him in a straight line, maybe just different gearing, like you said, or just something that he's done the traction of it over those bumps that really helped it.
Yeah, I've got a funny feeling that's what it is. I'm going to sit on board now. We're coming round the left-hander. They're both nicely round it. You can take a little bit of curb like Sanchez did there, but this is such a tough corner, Joe. That wall on the right-hand side really seems to jump out on you. Anyway, let me sit on board now with Yangtze Lin. And yeah, that's what it is, Joe. I'm just looking at his gear spread. It's quite a big spread between the gears there. If anything, that's what will be hurting him. Maybe he did have a bad exit in the lap before, but yeah, he is using a long gear spread. His car doesn't really like that, to be honest with you. You want to keep the engine right in that rev range, right in the power band, It's an old style 4 valve per cylinder engine, and that's what they like. They like being, screamed. So, yeah, maybe that's what it is.
Interesting. Well, as they now head through 11 12, a lot of curb there for Sanchez. He is not afraid there on entry to get aggressive, but as he weaves away from the wall just to play it extra safe, he's lost a couple tenths now to Lin.
Is there any chance we can go to Uwe and Mikko? Because Uwe's got such a run now going down into turn 3. I think he's going to go for it in the brakes here, but Mikko's super late on the brakes there into turn 3. Bounces over the curb nicely there. Onto turn 4 now. See if they can take a big chunk of curb. Uwe takes a bit more there, but a nice exit for the pair of them. Mikko will already be thinking about that car ahead of him, whether he's going to be out of the way or not. A bit of a wiggle for Mikko. He might lose grip now coming out the exit. Doesn't, keeps it nicely planted. And looks like they're going to catch these guys right in the fountain section, Joe.
No doubt the Norwegian is relishing this right now. The downside to all of this, though, Mick, is Tixier running in second place. Yes, it's not that fabled win he's still chasing. Whoa, well, maybe it will be. When did he catch up to Vascalampi? Did something happen to Timu? Last lap for him, a 30 flat. It's not super slow, but it was the best lap of the race for Sebastian Tixier at 28.9, so that cut it down immediately. So it's just a combination of bad and good coming together, and they meet in the middle. So Sebastian could both take the points lead, and could he get that first win here with just a couple laps to go? They're down to about 6 laps left.
Yeah, Timu's already defending into turn 3 now, braking zone. But look at Seb, he's so late on the brakes, he can't do it around the outside, surely.
Oh, he's going to try it. Can he get it done? Yes, he can. That's for the lead. It's not done yet. Down through turn 4, he chops across, and that is the lead for the number 4 car. An unexpected move.
Yeah, sorry, Joe. Touch the wall on the exit of 3 there. Now let's see what's going on. Onto the back straight. Seb is using the long gear set. I think he's only using 4 gears mainly. He might get up to 5th at the bottom of the end of the straight, sorry. But unbelievable move around the outside there into 3. Brilliant.
That is one for the highlight reel, no doubt. But as they come down the back stretch, here we go with Ove now past Mikko Lino. Not sure when he passed that Ferrari liveried machine. Let's see if we can get the replay on that one. Does this happen down into turn 3 as well? Yes, it does. This time, though, he does it the easier way compared to Sebastian.
Yeah, nicely down the inside. Yeah, bog standard move. Yeah, I don't know what Seb was thinking there, to be honest with you.
Just gets it up the inside. 3. He tries to fight it, to be fair. They carry on down into turn 4. And man, he keeps this going for quite some time. Down into 5. How long does this carry on? Now he has to give up the ghost.
Yeah, beautiful move there. Great racing with these guys. Yeah, great to see Mikko on pace as well, especially, I know it's a different series, but especially after his dreadful Lotus 79 race last week. Great to see him on pace in the 49 today.
Tixier now leads by half a second. With a little bit to go, we're going to take one more look at this overtake and how he got into this position. Yeah, I mean, so easy for the cars to tangle and him to get fed into that tire barrier, and he braved it out.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Timu was thinking the same as me there. Seb's off, because I actually, I can't believe he got round there like that. Should we put that on Timu's shoulder? I don't know. Let's see what he says afterwards. Hopefully we'll have a chat with him afterwards after the race. But, Joe, this ain't over. Timu's all over him.
Absolutely. So the 4 and the 5 trying to take the win here today at one of the most difficult courses. This will be an emotional victory if Tixier can do this, as they come out of the last few turns to cross the start-finish line. 5 to go as they come across the timing line now.
Nicely into turn 1. I was sitting with Timu now. Just lost the rear end into turn 1. Seb's pretty tasty off of this turn 2. Both cars get loose there when you just get the power down in 4th gear. Head down to this brake marker, the tree on the left-hand side. You want to bounce over the curb on the right here as you go in. Seb's nice, Timu's nice. You can both get on the power early there. Just going to try and get over this curb on the right-hand side. Both cars exactly how you want to do it. Don't brake too late for this, as Seb found out. Timu's over the curb there. He lost a bit of time, but Seb's lost the back end. So onto the back straight we go again, Joe.
Keeping him at bay. He's got to know just how hard it is to try and overtake here. So surely I think in this case for Tixier, it's just hold steady, hold your line, and not try and make any mistakes. Way too hot into the corner, and he gets plowed into. They're both off. They're both into the barrier trying to back up as Ben Soko is going to fly through. They get it running. Are the cars damaged, though? Olsen's up into second. Tixier's going to... Oh, no! They're in the wall. They're in the wall.
Yeah.
I think it's over.
Yeah, that was he was so late on the brakes. He completely missed his brake marker, didn't he? And fair play to him. He actually just tried to miss Seb as much as he could. He just couldn't. He just couldn't do it.
And Sebastian saw him coming. He tried to give him space. I think he hurt the suspension because when he tried to brake into the next corner, you'll see if we speed it up. Watch Sebastian's car. It's just going to suddenly veer off.
Oh, yeah.
And that takes both of them out.
It wasn't even on a gear change.
Finish.
Yeah, it wasn't even on a gear change, that, Joe. It might have been when he touched the brakes. Joe, Ben Soko is winning this race.
He is. And we haven't touched on it, but this might be his last for some time. Cross your fingers, knock on your favorite piece of wood, and we'll see if he can finish off on a high note. Meanwhile, Xabi Sanchez has been promoted to 6th, both from the attrition and because he's gotten by Lynn finally. Meanwhile, back to Mikko Lino now as we check them out fighting for, let's see, this is for the podium now. So Trangrade's been promoted back up as well. He's into 3rd. Lino just behind him. There's scant few laps to go for the Finn, who started this race on pole.
John Olsen in 2nd spot, Joe. This is a crazy race, mate. It's a crazy race, isn't it?
I was trying to see how many wins have gone to Ben Soko over the years, and I don't see him on the most wins list. So
I don't think he's won a broadcast race, Joe. I thought
has
this will
he
be
not?
it. No,
all these years?
I don't think so.
Oh my gosh.
He might have had. He might have had when we did the fuel ballast races back in the day. But as for a straight out and out win in the broadcast on a Saturday, I think this is it.
Wow. So Lynn still in this fight with Sanchez, but lost a lot of ground there coming out of turn 2. So we head back to the battle for 3rd. They head through the Loiter Way, Picnic Way, and then onto the backstretch. You talked about this right-hand wall. It crests right there. It's off camber so hard to try and get the power down as they go by the lap traffic of back row Bob. He's going to use the backstretch to let them through. Not close enough for Mikko this time into the fountain section.
No, not close enough there. I just can't believe that car hasn't got damage. I just don't know how he's still driving. I mean, he's hit more walls than I've ever seen anyone and carried on. So fair play to him for being able to do it. Is he some sort of like AI, iRacing AI that doesn't get damage or something?
I'm not sure, but we once again go a little bit backwards here. This is now Gary Quellen with Sanchez and Lynn having caught up to him. Talked about Gary looking good this week. Well, he's been very steady. He hasn't always been as quick as some of the fastest drivers out there today, but while everybody else around him has problems and they dive around Robert Reynolds as well, everybody managing safely through. Oh, that was a poor exit from Colin. This is going to give a chance, Mick, to Sanchez.
I'm going to stick to my guns here, Joe, or am I? As we watch, you watch him go around the outside. It worked earlier. Oh, he's hit the wall.
Oh, that was Sanchez just sending it too deep. Trying to do what maybe he heard us talk about Sebastian do and discover just how hard it is to make that outside pass. He's able to keep going. Not sure how much damage he got with that little touch with the tire barrier.
Yeah, and speaking of hard things to do, one of the hardest things to do in his Grand Prix Legends series overall is get round Gary Quellin. He's always been tough. It's always been a tough fighter on track. Fair as you can be and tough as anything. If you get round him, you've earned it. Trust me.
Tell you one driver that just wants to get round something. It's this track one more time for Ben Zocco. He is coming up to the white flag. John Olsen is 1 second behind him. Let's see what the lap times are like. I wonder if Zocco's just backing it off just a hair to bring it home. No, he's not. 29.6. He's picked it up a bit, actually. And Olsen...
John, 29.2. Yeah, just under 29.3 there for John Olsen. So John wants this as much as Ben does.
But at 0.3 quicker is not going to be enough. He'll need to be massively faster. Oh, we've had a wreck between Salgado and somebody else in the background. That was through 11 and 12. And, oh, please don't try and back up into traffic. That's a blind place. That's not going to go well. He's going to be able to get it going, it looks like. Thankfully, nobody else runs into him. Meanwhile, the number 6 car, he said in our interview last time, he tends to fare well here at Detroit. He was not kidding. He kept it safe up to this point. Just a couple more corners to go for the Australian. Limited on time because of the time change, unfortunately. Daylight savings about to switch over down in Australia, and that will prevent him from being able to enjoy these broadcast races because it just gets too late at night for him. Well, it'll be a party late at night for Ben Zocco, because as he comes around the last few corners, his last race with us for some time is going to be victory here at Detroit Motor City.
Unbelievable result for Ben. He will be so happy. I'm going to say it as an Australian. He'll be so stoked at that one, mate. John Olsen finishing second nicely. John will be well happy with that. Uwe third place. Yeah, he gets third. Yeah, just unbelievable attrition there, Joe, wasn't it?
Train grade. Here I was making a big deal how he might lose the points lead. Not so after that one. He should stay up at the top with that third place. He kept it whole in the end and survived. Rossi with a 9th place in that F2 fight. Again, he racks up so many good finishes. At some point, that car is probably going to advance up in iRating too much, I got to think. He was just under it coming into this one at 2,400. So
yeah, current champion as well. So yeah, that is a very good finish for David Russell, 9th today. So yeah, I'm sure he'd be really happy with that. I just can't get over Ben's won it. It's going to be an anticlimax if he comes in interview and says, "Oh no, I won one last year," or what we've forgotten. But I don't think so, Joe. I think this one's it. I think this is his maiden victory.
We'll find out soon enough. We're going to take a quick break, and hopefully we'll get to chat with him here in a moment. Stick around for the official results as well as driver interviews coming your way soon. Welcome back to the Belle Isle circuit in Detroit, and round 3 of the Grand Prix Legend Series sees Ben Zocco take a win. We found the stats over the break. This is his 3rd win, apparently, in the series. So not his first, but not sure when the last time was that we saw him on the top step. John Olsen with a well-earned 2nd place ahead of Ove Trangrade, rounding out the podium, was followed by Mikko Laino, who started on pole, probably kicking himself both for the start off the line and then a mistake into the wall later on that cost him what could have been probably a victory here today. Colin was 5th as Xavier Sanchez was P6, up from 15th. Lau Stolzen, P7, was followed by Jan Zielin in 8th. David Rossi, exactly where he started this race, 9th place. And then Matt Wright from 17th to 10th.
Yuri Wickstrom, we didn't see much of him today in 11th. Mira Hasley in 12th. Robert Plumley, I'm sure he was streaming that race, in 13th. Marco Antonio Lopez Salgado in 14th. 15th, Richard Watson. Fast hands today from Richard. Pretty impressed with that, mate. 16th, Cam Porter. 17th, Paul Wilson. 18th, Robert Abrota. 19th, Neil Kemp. And 20th, Javier Mosquera.
Michael Grissinger got back out after being involved in the early incidents with some repairs. He wound up 21st after starting 30th, so it was a good thing he did return, even though he's 2 laps down. Back row Bob, 22nd from 39th. Timu Vascalampy, a DNF today, only 23rd. And then from there on down, and I'm not kidding, this is all DNFs from there. This track just ate them up and spit them out, which we frankly kind of expected as the 39 starters really had a rough one there today. But Ben Zocco knew that coming in, and I think he was prepared for that. Started from 4th, had the good qualifying, set himself up, and then when the leaders came together, Ben, I'm sure you were beside yourself when you suddenly saw them in the wall there heading into the fountain section. How did you keep calm for those last few laps?
Yeah, doggy. Yeah, I was just going through my head, I did a lap guide for the community earlier today, and I was just like sort of replaying it in my own head, going, brake here, turn there, all that kind of stuff. And I knew that I had the pace over John, so it was just a matter of I knew I still had to push, otherwise there'd be trouble, and also if you back off, you can crash as well. So I just kept on doing the same thing I'd been doing the whole race, really.
So we had to dig up the stats because we couldn't remember the last time we had seen a win from you. This is the 3rd win that you've had so far in the series. Do you remember how long ago it was the last time you topped the steps?
Yeah, I think I did it twice in the Racing for Rick one back, what would have been, 2017 season 2 or something.
So yeah, Mick called it. This was well ago, possibly back when you guys were using fuel to kind of ballast one another and affect the championship leader. But still, we didn't talk about it until you had taken the lead. This is going to be the last for a while. This is quite the send-off. You said that you expected to be pretty good here today. Did you think that it really was possible to get that win?
No, not at all. I was thinking just average race, 5th or 6th, the usual kind of thing. Or DNF, it feels like a bit of redemption here, actually, because there was one season where I think it was Rob Olenek and I going at it for the win, and I think I crashed out of that one. So, it's good to finally get the win at Belle Isle. It is a favourite track of mine. It's just so much fun to race here, and a bit like Bathurst and some other tracks, Nordschleifer, it's all about making sure that you don't crash. And as you saw today, the leaders crashed, and that gifted me the win. But you've got to survive Belle Isle to win it. So I might not have had the pure pace, but I had the grace.
I love that quote. As Ben Zocco. Ben, before you go, who helped put you in victory lane this evening for you?
Rowley did with his setup. So thanks, Rowley. It was a good one.
Benzoko, your victor from fourth on the grid. Second behind him was John Olsen. Mick has caught up with him, and John could have caught up with the leader potentially too.
Hey, John, can you hear us before we start?
I can. Can you hear me?
I was going to say no. Yeah, we can, mate. Yeah. So, listen, mate, welcome to the booth finally, mate. It's been a long time since you've been in this series now. You've been no interviews whatsoever, so we're going to kick you in the behind for that a bit, but no worries. Listen, mate, second spot it's got to be a, I don't know, bittersweet, more sweet than bitter sort of result for you. Tell me.
More sweet than bitter. I feel like I just gave birth. Starting off the race with Uwe on your gearbox for the first 10 laps, swimming with sharks, and then a little later I had Uwe and Mikko behind me, and so I'm trying to catch Ben, and I've got those two guys behind me, and it's like if they catch me, I'm hosed. So, in order for me to get a second, it was kind of going to take what happened. A couple guys in front of me were probably going to have some problems. That's what happened. So really happy with second place.
Yeah, look, just talk about your qualifying laps. If I'm honest, I was expecting you a bit further up on the grid there. How'd it go?
I screwed the pooch on lap 2. The first lap was good. It was like a 29.8, good enough to stay out of the trouble that's going to happen in the back. So I pushed a little bit on the second lap, and I blew the exit on the second to last turn, and I probably lost at least 2/10. I would have finished. I would have qualified at least in front of Ben. I think I might have been a little further up. There's no way I had pole. I wasn't going to be in the 28s, but I think I could have been in front of Ben.
Yeah. Listen, you're probably the speaking to you over the week. You're probably the best guy to answer this question. I just want you to touch on the difference between going out there and chucking in 10 hours of practice like you've done this week and the race situation.
It's totally different. I can see why Uwe does what he does, because when you go out and practice, there's no pressure. When there's no pressure, you can just push every lap, and if you crash, there's no consequence. In the race, you can't make a mistake. So it's kind of a backside pucker the whole time. Your jaw's clenched, your butt's puckered. It's just crazy.
Brilliant, mate. Listen, before you let you go, mate, anyone you want to thank?
I want to thank my driving coach, I was going to leave him nameless, but I won't. That would be Mick Claridge, who has given me a great deal of advice and coaching in the last few weeks, and the results show it. So thank you very much, sir.
Yeah, I love that guy too. I've never met anyone better, but yeah, cheers, mate.
Yeah, all right, thanks, guys. Cheers.
Joe, who you caught up with?
Well, I've caught up with Laust Olsen, who finished 7th, and we'll see if he has anybody to thank for his teaching to get him into the top 10 here. And fortunately, it's not going to be me, because Laust, we just heard Ben talking a little bit ago about the survival factor. How much of that played into going from 12th to 7th out there for you?
At least I think it gained me 3 positions in the last laps. I was in 10th, and suddenly I ended up 7th. So I guess somebody didn't make it. I would say 10th was probably what I had speed for, but you take whatever you get in those circumstances. Just glad I survived myself. That was the first goal.
Yeah, I can fathom that's really the main focus here today. And we've started off the season with a lot of really difficult circuits, it seems, but I know that a lot of the vintage drivers tend to thrive on these bigger challenges, because next week we go to Brands Hatch. Do you feel like maybe what you've done here will kind of translate over there, because that's another track that tends to eat up drivers, and another one like we've seen in these first 3 where it's a very short lap?
Yeah, don't have no good memories about Brands Hatch. I often end up making mistakes myself, so but I'll definitely try to do better this time. I love the track. It's actually I love most of the challenging tracks. They are fun to drive, and you never get bored, so I actually prefer or don't mind having some of the more challenging tracks, even though they can be quite difficult, and it's not only a battle against the other drivers, but also a battle against yourself and the track. But I like that.
Again, congratulations on a top 10. Who helped put you up there today?
I'll have to thank the community in general. That's a really nice community and a great place to race. And thanks to John for the setups he provides every week. Wouldn't know what to do if I didn't have those to fall back on. So and you guys, of course, as always.
Well, thank you very much. That was Laust Olsen, finished 7th from 12th today, picking up a few spots later on, but as we said, it's still legitimate out here. Speaking of picking up spots, Mick, sounds like Cam Porter up 15 from the start, got a few himself.
Yeah, hi Cam. I was just looking at myself from 31st to 16th spot. I was just thinking back to the start of the race. You must have had a good view of the wreck. So just talk about that. How did you get through that?
Wow, that was so much happening. Every corner there were 3 cars spun or wrecked or on the roof. It was kind of crazy. I have to apologize to Michael Grissinger. I hit him in going into turn 3. I think he had. Well, we both checked out for the action that was happening ahead of us, and I was pretty close to him. I had checked, I'd backed off early, but then he had to check out for someone ahead of him, and then I bumped him for. I thought it was a slight contact, but then he was really slow after that. So apologies to Michael if I damaged his suspension or something in that contact. But yeah, that was really crazy opening lap. And then after that, I had a pretty quiet race, to be honest. Just focused on trying to stay clean because I didn't have pace.
Right, yeah. You know what? I was just looking at the replay there, what we're showing. I mean, you were close to someone who was there. I was just watching myself as you was chatting there. Listen, just give us a bit of an insight out to how you practice this car for a track like this.
Well, I certainly tried out iRacing's setup. I think Christian makes those, if I remember correctly. And I tried out John Olsen's set. I felt John's was a little faster, but I felt that it might bite me later in the race because it was a little more loose, especially under braking. So I made a few adjustments to John's setup. So thanks, John, for sharing your set. I don't put a lot of practice in for the races compared to a lot of other guys. I do a half-hour practice before the Friday night race, and then I do the Friday night race usually, and then the half-hour practice before the Saturday broadcast, of course. So I don't take my racing too seriously, and I like to race a lot of different series. So almost every day I'm doing a different car, actually. So I just jump around a lot. So, but regardless. Have fun racing this series. Hopefully I can have someone close by me next time to race with.
Right. Yeah, great. I didn't know that. I thought you was just a Lotus 49. I thought that was just your only car that you drive. Listen, how do you feel about Brands Hatch next week?
Oh, that'll be tricky. Not necessarily one of my favorite tracks, but I'll just have to concentrate on putting in a little more practice probably to learn that track a little better and hopefully keep it on track this time.
Yeah, great stuff. Anyone you want to thank today?
Thanks again to John Olsen for sharing his set and being very open with his advice, and just everyone in the Lotus community, Lotus 49 community, especially you, Mick, who shares a lot of info about setups and stuff. So thanks a lot, everybody.
Thanks for coming, man. Thank you very much.
That was Cam Porter, who finished 16th here today, and we're going to wrap up now that we've gone through our interviews. So before we go, a big thank you to the Grand Prix Legends community ourselves for bringing us back for another season of coverage. Also, thanks to the team today, Rob, Mick, and Dougie. Make sure to check out our social media, our website, and our merchandise store. And don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel as well so you don't miss a moment here on GSRC. Next race, as we mentioned, will be Brands Hatch, Saturday, October 8th at 9:30 a.m. Eastern. And be sure to check out our other broadcasts listed here, including the Campbell GT Series going to Road America today at 1 p.m. Eastern. Until next time, though, race clean, race hard. We'll see you on the track.